Hi all, welcome to my weekend league in review. I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I thought I don't do weekend league that often, and this weekend just passed. I thought let's really go for it. Let's have a right good go at it. So because Smash Links would be awesome. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at G is a legend. All the links are down below for posting the channel and social media links as always. And remember to hit that notification bell so you know when uploads are up on the channel. So we finished 14 and 11 with this team. Now, initially, the way we'd structured this for the whole weekend league was we would do batches of 2 or 3 games and then do a squad battles game. So I would, like the squad battles game, I'd get the 5 goals on beginner and I'd go away. It would like literally take 10 minutes of in-game time and I could be able to go away for a few minutes in the first half to go and get a drink, recharge, and then the second half I'd let it just go and play away and then go away and take some time out just to, as I said, recharge. And honestly, it worked a treat. Like we started off, we lost the first game, then we won like 3 or 4 on the spin, then we lost our 5th game. I'm sure it was 4-2 we won for our first night on Friday night. We'd played 6 games, I was fairly happy. In all honesty, the other game that we lost was unlucky. It was like a 1 goal moment, and it was just kind of like just sheer unlucky. The first game, in fact, it was a penalty. Now that I remember, I'm looking over the stats. The first game was a penalty as well. It was like my player just randomly just ran into him, and it was a bit annoying. So in the background, we're running over the team that we used. If you remember the FUT squad builder, this is practically the team that we used. Then going into our second day on the Saturday, the biggest mistake I possibly made was I played 17 games, which was probably a bit overkill. And the reason why I say that is because I was at 13 and 6 and I was playing quite possibly the best FIFA I've honestly played in my life. I only lost 4 games, but I only lost 3 because one of the games the person rage quit when I got a penalty. And when the penalty happened, just as I was about to take the penalty, or it was in that moment in the screen, the guy rage quit, and then it said you get the lone circle, and then it did the your match report will be examined, etc. But then from there it gave me the loss. So I suddenly went from 13 and 5 to 13 and 6, which was not ideal, but we would have been 14 and 5 because it would have been, and then I would probably sat comfortable. I might have finished at 19 games. But going over the team just briefly, Paco Alcacer, very impressive in centre mid. Jules Vogue has been absolutely consistent, came in with a few clutch goals. Same for Paco, to be honest. And the whole midfield, my only complaint I've found with the team is consistently I have to take off Santi Cazorla and Paco Alcacer either in the 45th minute, but at the latest the 60th minute. I can't go too much longer. And what I'll do is I then bring on Bruma, I then bring on Lucas, I bring on Player of the Year Martinez, and I just change it up. What I do is I bring Koki into left centre mid, Bruma into centre mid, and sometimes I will change it, but I generally go that way. Player of the Year Martinez goes into left forward, and honestly the team just works. Like, I'm not being too concerned about the goals and assist return. Like, what I find is, even if it might say 9 assists, I'm like they'll have started the attack, but it's like Rodrigo that's finished it. So it's like technically in a sense, yes, they have assisted, but it's not going to count as an assist for them in the game because it'll have been like Rodrigo will have finished it, or Koke's finished it, or Sancho's finished it, or Player Martinez has finished it. Like Rodrigo, I had my doubts initially, but honestly the amount of times over the weekend he was coming up with 2 and 3 goal contributions was really just a big saver. And even just the games where he did get a goal or didn't get a goal, he just kind of helped out massively. There's one game in particular he got 4 goals and I even missed a penalty for a 5th. I was actually annoyed. The penalty I just completely duffed. But the as I was saying, we were at 13. If the rage quit game had counted for me, I would have been delighted. But even in the other 3 games that I lost, there was one guy in particular who was an absolute pain in the arse. All he did for the whole second half, because he knew he was in a game. It went, he was 1-0 to me, then it went 2-1 to him, then it went 3-2 at half time. And in the whole second half, all he did was practically pass with the back four to the goalkeeper. You may have seen a video doing similar rounds where the guy has the ball with his goalkeeper and just kicks it to about his first defender who headers it back. This is all this guy did. It was very, very similar. But he did it for the entire second half. And I kept pressuring players. I pushed them all up the park. And I got the ball on one occasion where I got it back to 3-3. But the game dragged out in the second half. And because he realised he was that he had to suddenly change it up, he didn't know what to do. And then in the 90th minute, he basically launched the ball up the park and got a penalty. Like, the annoying thing was I didn't record like any of the gameplay because I'd rather have just focused on the game, take it bit by bit. And I was actually annoyed. The game gave a penalty and it wasn't even in the box. I actually watched over the footage for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I was like, "It's not a penalty. It's never." The thing was, he hadn't even fouled him. It was like my guy. It's like one of these the random ones that you get. So then it was a penalty, and I thought I'd saved it. I dived the same way, but it just went. It was power that beat me, and kind of placement as well. But when I messaged him and said, "Why did you do it?" Blah 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 blah. Turned out he was 23 and 3 or something. It was like he was like an Elite 2, Elite 3 player. I was like, seriously? I'm like 13. I was like 12 and 4 or something at the time. And I was like, I'm getting somebody like you that's like 10 wins better. But the guy was just he was actually really crap. Like in the whole, like all he had was, he was playing with 2 icons. He had Prime Campbell, Prime Ferdinand, Prime Hernandez, and somebody in, I think it was Prime Rui Costa in midfield, and all he did was play Rui Costa. That's all he did for the entire game. But as we were saying with our subs, we did Bruma, Lucas and Martinez for our subs. We sometimes did bring on Arias, but rarely did, to be honest. It was only if we needed to tighten up at the back. I usually took off Ta or Caliguri, even sometimes Alvaro. But as I said, the biggest mistake I made was playing too much on Saturday. If I'd finished at 13 and 6, I should have just stopped at 13 games and said, right, I'm 13 and 6, I'm comfortable, I can recharge and focus on the Sunday, like knowing that I've got 11 games to play. Realistically, what could I achieve? Because I knew in my head, I thought, I think because I was at 13, I thought I'd rather get to 14 now and be comfortable. And because I didn't, and I got to 13 and 10, it got me annoyed to the point where I was like, I just, that's when I then needed to stop. It was kind of maybe it was possibly complacency from my part, but when I was going over all the players that I was playing, because I messaged every single player after games, or sometimes they messaged me. I had quite a few folk were saying, "Oh, you were lucky, so and so." Yeah, a couple of the players. There was one guy I beat 6-1, and he was like, "Oh, you were so lucky. If I had my A team, I would beat you." I'm like, if that, and the guy had like 2. He had Prime Ferdinand, Prime Rui Costa, and like Mbappe and countless other quality cards. And I'm like, son, even if you had, if this is your B team, I'd hate to see what your A team is, and I would have still, like, the guy was really, really bad. He could not defend. The one goal he scored didn't even register as a shot on target. It hit the post and went in. It was like actually hilarious. It was like it hit the post, hit my goalie and went in. It was just one of these shots. It was just the worst shot in the world. But Martinez is a godsend of a card. If you never got him, you've missed out. But this guy is just lethal in the second half. Like, he runs riot. Like, the amount of goals he's came. Like, I know his record looks bad, but for him coming off the bench, he's such a big saviour, and he does make such a difference. But I'm definitely the way I honestly felt I played this weekend, when I look at 14 wins and five games left, I feel rather annoyed that, like, if I'd held off, I think I would have got gold 2. Like, I know I'm not great at FIFA, I will honestly admit that, but this year, like, that weekend just there, it was honestly the best weekend of FIFA I've possibly ever played for a long time. Like, a real long time. Like, I honestly think at the very best, like, the way I was going, I think I would have probably been gold 2, but then I might have been a bit annoyed because of gold 3 is really what you're kind of wanting over rather than gold 2. But could I have pushed, like, realistically, if I'd tightened up at the back, like, some of the goals I conceded were sloppy and just kind of really dire. Like, if I'd taken them out of the equation, like, quite a few of the games, even if I was winning 1-0 or even 2-1, like, if I'd taken, like, the losses that I was getting, like, if I took the 5 losses that I practically had in a row out of the equation, well, it's technically 6 actually, but if you put the rage quit loss, then quite possibly we would have been, could we have got gold 1? Could we have got elite? Elite 3 would have been probably unlikely, but I think at the very, very highest, I think would have been maybe even pushing towards gold 1. But a lot of the players we were facing, as we were getting deeper and deeper, I noticed, because I think of our streak, was like gold 1, elite 3 players. That's what they, or at least that's what they were saying. So it's quite interesting. But hopefully you find this fun, folks. Let me know in the comments down below if you did weekend league, what you got in your for your weekend league. Smash the likes always, folks. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter @GIsALegend. Take it easy all, thanks for watching, and I will catch you all later.